is about forecasting, right? So you heard about this word, forecasting. What does that mean? So we use forecasting pretty often, right, on your daily lives. There's a forecast that everybody knows about, that everybody looks about. It's the weather forecast, right? So what is the weather forecast? It's basically a study, right? Some people are going to collect some data and take in consideration kind of a bunch of different things: the temperature, the pressure, the season, and kind of a bunch of different performance metrics, and they try to predict what's going to be the weather tomorrow, right? And why do you need that forecast for tomorrow? Why do you need to know what's the weather going to be tomorrow, or what's the weather going to be later today? Well, we need that to be prepared, right? So if you wake up in the morning and know it's going to be cold during the day, you get a jacket to go outside. Uh, that's the logic, right? To have to be why don't you decide to put the jacket in the middle of the day when it gets cold, because then you don't have a jacket. So that's the same logic that the companies use forecast. So for the companies, they need to know how much that they're going to need to produce in order to have the demand fulfilled, right? So, definition of forecast: what is a forecast? Is a prediction of future events used for planning purpose. So, we're going to talk a lot about finished good forecasting. So, companies trying to predict what are they going to need in the future, in next week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in a month, and so forth, so on, right? So we know that, prediction means that you're going to get some of them right, you're going to get some of them wrong, you're going to have a good forecast or a bad forecast. So we're going to talk about that. It also means that you have a bunch of different ways to predict the forecast, right? So to predict the weather or to predict the sales, depending what kind of demand you have and what impact your demand. Okay. So this is an example, real example, from beer 6-pack 12-ounce bottles. I know you guys are under 21, so you don't drink beer, but let's imagine that you do. And you can see, the question is, can we see any patterns here? So if we looked at this axis here is time. So we have the year January 2009, January 2010, 11, 12, 13. And imagine that we are in middle of 2012. So we're here in this moment in time. You don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? You have the data that shows you what happened in the past, and you're going to predict what's going to happen in this year of mid 2012 until mid 2013, right? And in this axis is how many are going to be consumed every month, right? So can we see patterns happening here? So when do we have a low demand? So you can see that, about summertime, we always have a lower demand. So imagine that we're talking about, light beer or something like that, right? Again, I know you don't know about that, but people drink less beer in the summer. Sorry, in the winter. And in fact, they drink a lot more in the summer because of the heat. You go out, you do barbecues, you have vacation in summer, you have time to go out and drink more beer. So we can see a pattern here in the summer. Every summer we have spikes on demand here and here and here, right? So, when you're going to predict the future, when you're going to predict the next month, they're not going to say, okay, my sales is going to be a flat line. Every month's going to be the same. No, based on the past, I know that I'll have a spike in the summer, so start the year with higher demand. then the demand is going to go down because you got the winter, and then you're going to go up again, right? So this is forecasting is based on looking at what happened in the past, looking at what your demand was and what changed your demand and what are the things that are important then in order to change your demand, and then use that to predict the future demand. Okay.